Who would have thought that after winning 3 Super Bowls and appearing in 5 of the last 6, that the Chiefs wouldn't even make the playoffs this season? It's quite shocking to see a team dominate the first half of this decade from clicking on all cylinders with their coaching hires and roster construction and reconstruction over the years to not being able to execute in so many winnable games this season, isn't it? Is the dynasty actually over though? I think it can easily be revived. Veach has done an amazing job reconstructing the Chiefs roster before and should have no problem doing so again. The groundwork of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty started in 2013 when the Chiefs hired John Dorsey to be their general manager and then Andy Reid to be their new head coach after his 14-year tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles just came to an end. The Chiefs had just gone 2-14, but Reid immediately flipped the culture, leading them to the playoffs in his first year with a solid bridge quarterback in Alex Smith leading the offense. They also brought in Eagles scout Brett Veach to become their pro and college personnel analyst, and he eventually worked his way up to become the general manager by 2017. The Chiefs also drafted a future Hall of Fame tight end in Travis Kelce in the 3rd round of the 2013 draft and hit the lottery in the 2016 NFL draft even without a 1st round pick by drafting Chris Jones in the 2nd round and Tyreek Hill in the 5th round. Then came the 2017 NFL draft. The Chiefs traded up from the 27th overall pick to the 10th to draft Patrick Mahomes. That single move turned the Chiefs from playoff regulars into a team destined for greatness. John Dorsey laid down some amazing groundwork shortly before he was fired, but then Brett Veach was promoted to general manager a couple months after Mahomes was drafted and has been able to keep the dynasty intact even after some bumps in the road. Mahomes spent much of his rookie year as Alex Smith's backup, and the Chiefs went 10-6 before losing 22-21 in the wildcard game against the Tennessee Titans. That was Smith's last game with the Chiefs as he was traded to Washington at the end of January, and it was time for the Patrick Mahomes era to begin in Kansas City. In Mahomes' first year as the starting quarterback, the year Eric Bieniemy was promoted from running backs coach to the offensive coordinator, Mahomes threw for 50 touchdown passes while just 23 years old. Tyreek Hill, who already broke out as the Chiefs' #1 receiver the year prior, continued to dominate, and Travis Kelce had his best season yet statistically. The Chiefs were 12-4 thanks to having the league's highest scoring offense, but their defense gave up the 9th most points while missing their longtime star safety Eric Berry from an Achilles tear he suffered the previous year. In the AFC Championship game, Mahomes threw 3 touchdown passes, but the defense gave up 37 points and the game-winning drive. Berry had returned toward the end of the regular season, but he was clearly derailed from his Achilles injury, and that game was ultimately his last. Knowing the defense had been regressing since 2015 and had let down Patrick Mahomes when he had a historic season statistically, the Chiefs wasted no time improving their defense. First, they fired their defensive coordinator Bob Sutton, whose defense failed to get stops on several 3rd downs where the Patriots ran nearly identical plays in the AFC Championship game. They replaced him with Steve Spagnuolo, who was the Giants defensive coordinator when they sacked Tom Brady 5 times en route to one of the greatest upsets in Super Bowl history in Super Bowl 42. Spagnuolo was also the defensive coordinator for the 2016 Giants, who gave up the 2nd fewest points in the NFL that season. Then they signed Tyrann Mathieu to a 3-year deal and traded for Frank Clark to improve their defense. The Chiefs went from giving up the 9th most points to 7th fewest in 2019. The defense also held 3 different opponents to single digits in scoring, including the Broncos twice. In the following years to come, the Chiefs became the NFL's gold standard. Andy Reid's offensive creativity, Spagnuolo's defensive schemes, Mahomes' magic, and stars like Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, early on Tyreek Hill too, made them nearly unstoppable. The 2019 Chiefs got off to a 4-0 start before losing their next 2 games. The Chiefs would then win 2 of their next 4 games before winning every game for the rest of their season from Week 11 against the Chargers until their first Super Bowl victory in 50 years. Mahomes was even able to lead the Chiefs back from a 24-0 deficit that they faced against the Texans in the 2nd quarter of the AFC divisional game, a game the Chiefs won 51-31. He also led the Chiefs back from a 20 30-10 deficit in the Super Bowl by leading 3 scoring drives in the fourth quarter to win the game 31-20. After winning Super Bowl MVP, Mahomes was given a record-breaking 10-year, $450 million contract. It would take the Chiefs a couple years to win another Super Bowl, as Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers demolished the Chiefs the very next year in the Super Bowl, and the Cincinnati Bengals knocked the Chiefs out in the AFC Championship the year after that. 2022 would be a different story though. The Chiefs knew they badly needed to improve their offensive line to win another Super Bowl after the Bucs defense overwhelmed Mahomes in Super Bowl 55, so they signed Joe Thuney, who protected Tom Brady for his last 2 Super Bowl runs with the Patriots, drafted Creed Humphrey in the second round of the 2021 draft, and traded 4 picks for Orlando Brown, who previously made 2 Pro Bowls with the Ravens. Tyreek Hill getting traded to the Miami Dolphins was certainly a significant loss. However, the Chiefs managed to replace him with Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling as second and third options to Travis Kelce in what was the #1 offense in the league. Justin Reid was also brought in from the Texans on a 3-year deal to fill in the voids at safety for Tyrann Mathieu and Daniel Sorensen, as they both left for the New Orleans Saints. They also drafted Trent McDuffie late in the first round of the 2022 draft to be their new starting cornerback. The Chiefs went 14-3 in 2022 behind Mahomes' 41 touchdown passes and won a nail-biter in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. And yes, the holding call on James Bradberry in the Super Bowl was correct. The jersey tug was clear on the replay. After Smith-Schuster signed a 3-year deal with the Patriots, only to come back to the Chiefs after 1 year, the Chiefs drafted Rashee Rice in the second round, and he set the record for most postseason receptions as a rookie with 26. In 2023, with Eric Bieniemy taking on the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator job with the Washington Commanders, and Orlando Brown signing with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chiefs' offense took a major step back, going from the top scoring offense to just 15th in points scored, and the Chiefs went from 14-3 to 11-6. Thanks to the defense giving up the second fewest points in the league, with a lot of help from McDuffie having a breakout season, the Chiefs were still good enough to win the AFC West again, but were unable to clinch a first-round bye. That didn't stop the Chiefs from winning yet another Super Bowl behind a magical game-winning drive led by Mahomes after being down 10-3 at the half, making the Chiefs the first team in 20 years to successfully defend their Super Bowl title. Unfortunately, dynasties don't last forever. Last February, the Chiefs' dream of the first three-peat in NFL history was crushed in Super Bowl 59 when the Eagles destroyed them 40-22. The Chiefs haven't been the same since then, but not because of a lack of talent. As a matter of fact, the Chiefs are averaging more points per game than last year's team and giving up slightly less points per game on defense, as of the recording of this video, which is before the Chiefs' Week 16 matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Here's the problem. The Chiefs went from 12-0 in one-score games last year to 1-7 this season. A complete collapse in execution, costly penalties, drops in crucial situations, key players coming and going, and injuries all came back to bite the Chiefs and got them eliminated from postseason play for the first time since 2014. One example of a crack in execution this season is the Chiefs' Week 5 Monday night loss to the Jaguars, which they lost by 3 points. Their defense let a huge opportunity to make a goal line stand slip away with 30 seconds left. On the Chiefs' 1-yard line, Trevor Lawrence tripped on his own feet after receiving the snap and still found a way to run for the game-winning touchdown. Chris Jones, one of the defensive cornerstones of the dynasty, showed zero urgency on that play, just standing and watching Lawrence get in the end zone. Speaking of Jones, he has just 4 sacks in the season, which is the fewest of his career since his rookie year, his fewest quarterback hits since 2021, and the fewest tackles of his career this season. There is no reason for Mahomes to be declining now at the age of 30, right? He has still displayed incredible arm strength and mobility this season. He actually averaged a career high in rushing yards per attempt this year. As a passer though, his completion percentage is down 5 points from the last 3 years, and in 2 less games has thrown as many interceptions as last year. Well, he just tore his left ACL, and apparently he was already dealing with discomfort in that knee for weeks leading up to the ACL tear. His decision making has not always been very sharp this year. For example, in a must-win game against the Texans where he threw 3 interceptions, 2 of those interceptions came from Mahomes forcing a play that just wasn't there, rather than trying to escape and extend the play like we're accustomed to seeing him do. The game against the Texans is also not entirely Mahomes' fault though, as awful as his 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions look. Facing the number 1 defense in the league isn't an easy task to begin with. Then on top of that, the Chiefs lost their starting left tackle and top draft pick Josh Simmons to a season-ending injury just 2 weeks prior, and then his replacement Wanya Morris was also lost to a season-ending injury. That left the Chiefs with no choice but to rely on their 3rd string left tackle to block for Mahomes while facing the number 1 defense in the NFL. It didn't help that the Chiefs had already weakened their offensive line before the season started by trading Joe Thuney to the Bears in the offseason, even after he made the All-Pro first team the last 2 seasons. The Chiefs needed to free up cap space, and where they ended up doing so backfired. Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, and Rashee Rice also dropped some passes we'd usually expect them to catch in some crucial moments of that game. One of Kelce's drops turned into an interception. It's safe to say Travis Kelce is distracted now, and at the age of 36, he isn't nearly the player he once was and should probably call it a career now. He's an unrestricted free agent after this season, so him being off the books will free up some cap space for the Chiefs. Hollywood Brown was brought in from the Cardinals last year to be another weapon for Mahomes to throw to, only for him to get hurt in the preseason, which made him miss all but 2 games last year. And after returning from the injury, he just has not been what the Chiefs needed him to be. His contract is also off the books after this season, so that'll also free up some cap space for the Chiefs. Rashee Rice has put up solid numbers since coming back from his 6-game suspension to start the year, but also has had some drops in critical situations. The Chiefs never really were among the best at getting stops on 3rd down anyways, but now their defense is among the worst at that, as they are just 28th in stopping their opponents from converting on 3rd down. Was it inevitable for the Chiefs to fall off eventually? Most certainly. No dynasty lasts forever. Missing the playoffs entirely this season was certainly not expected though. But the Chiefs' fall wasn't just fate. It was a mix of losing some key players due to free agency or injuries, regression in clutch play, and perhaps fatigue from so many consecutive deep playoff runs. From the rise with Reid and Mahomes, to the peak of multiple Super Bowls, to the fall after Super Bowl 59, the Chiefs' dynasty is a reminder, even the greatest runs don't last forever. Is there any hope for the dynasty to be revived? Of course there is. Mahomes may or may not be ready to play by week 1 of next season, but it is possible that he could make his return mid-season. Even if he doesn't, he's still 30. I'm older than him. I would be a lot more terrified of this being the beginning of the end for him if he were deeper into his 30s. Tom Brady was able to win 4 more Super Bowls after his Week 1 ACL tear in 2008, and true, Brady never relied on mobility like Mahomes does, but this certainly won't affect Mahomes' ability to throw the football. The Brady rule was also implemented after Brady's ACL tear to protect the quarterback, something Mahomes has already benefited from for his whole career. Last but not least, medical procedures are so much better than ever today, so I strongly doubt this is a death sentence to Mahomes' career. There are GMs who either swing and miss badly when addressing a team's weaknesses. There are also those who do nothing about it. I know this is a Giants fan, but Chiefs fans still have it so much better with Brett Veach, who's built a solid track record of making the right moves at the right time. I have no doubt in my mind he'll continue to do so as long as he's the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs. On top of that, the Chiefs will have a really good draft pick this year, and I think they should just tank the season now. As much as I'm usually against tanking, not when there's nothing to gain by winning any games the rest of the year. Shut the starters down for the season, play the backups, and start thinking about the future. Throughout the Chiefs dynasty, they never had a strong running game, and it's fair to say they didn't need one in such a pass-heavy league today. However, you can also say it eventually made them more predictable, Bowl, and there is still a place for a running game in today's NFL. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last season with their best player on offense being a running back. This year, the Rams are averaging the second most points per game in the NFL. True, they won the Super Bowl 4 seasons ago after cutting ties with Todd Gurley and didn't replace him with someone better, but they are also thriving right now with Kyren Williams being top 10 in rushing yards this year. The Lions have the third highest scoring offense with Jahmyr Gibbs being 8th in rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor is an MVP candidate right now while leading the league in rushing yards and touchdowns. It may be time for the Chiefs to start putting together a strong running game for once, especially when they are likely going to be without Mahomes at least to start next season. That's it for this video. Do you think the Chiefs can bounce back and win another Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like to get this out to more people. Please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss out. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the team. Links to my social media are down below for my more immediate reactions to what's going on in the sports world. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. If you'd like to see my most recent video or the one that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.